it'll trip.
it'll go right to the trip.
Steam was something else, so down by the kitchen down there, we've got two heads. You know, I know you're not at that point right now, but you got a roll door there, there's heads on either side of it. If somebody's in there, whatever, boiling, and it creates enough steam, it's like your smoke detector in the house, if it's near your shower and you open that door up, that detector's going off.
Okay.
That will trip it. And I've had it where somebody's put a popcorn machine right underneath smoke detector. Pop their popcorn, open that door up, out comes the steam, off goes the head, going to alarm. In their case, same thing, roll door comes down. Then you have to put that roll door back up again and recock it.
Okay.
For the panel itself, as I was saying, everything comes in on the display here as to what it is and where it is. We're online, right?
Yes.
With monitoring?
Yep.
Okay. Your account number, have they given you the account numbers?
Written on the panel.
It's written on the panel. You have your password?
Yeah,
You won't do anything without a password.
right. We actually had they were doing maintenance and Simplex called me and I just
Okay.
happened to notice that that's where it was.
Right,
So.
yeah, I put it inside here on it just in case. You can't do anything without a valid password. They will not take you offline
Yeah.
for it, so
And
it's
I
on the
got the
inside in
password,
here.
so we're all set there.
Right. Control stations, all the exits. Smoke detector here, smoke detector above the NAC panels, in the electrical closets on the floors above. Smoke detectors in the kitchen down there either side of the roll door. And then all the rooms have basically like a standalone smoke detector
Oh,
in them.
okay,
Okay,
not
but-
connected to this.
Most of the rooms come back to this panel here, which eventually we'll have numbers in here for the rooms on it. An LED will come on.
Okay.
It will not evac the building, okay? All it's gonna do is
Okay.
enunciate to here for you. You get an LED, you'll know that guy in room 302 burned his toast,
That will
okay?
also, if that goes off, there's a shunt trip breaker in the panel in the apartment. Will trip the stove out, so if somebody falls asleep with something on the stove, it doesn't start a fire. So they gotta know they gotta go back into their panel and reset
Well,
that.
that's good to know.
They gotta go back in their panel and reset that.
More often somebody's smoking a cigarette, and that's where a lot of fires start from too.
Yep. Wait for him to get back in here.
Take care of that, and if you get time, come back.
It's the ADA rooms.
Okay, so the ADA rooms are locked into the panel.
Yep.
The
All the
regular
rest
rooms
of
are
them.
in this panel over here.
Okay, well, it's good to know that somebody burning his toast didn't get to evacuate the building.
Right.
Okay,
Right, we ran into that recently, we did Morton Manor over
Okay.
at 7 Mile and Nequinder, somebody burned the rice, evac the building out of it. And only because they opened up the door and the smoke came out into the corridor, set off the smoke detector outside.
got it. So only the detectors outside the apartments, except for the ADA rooms, are locked into this thing.
That's correct.
Not outside the apartment, inside the apartments.
No, he's pointing to
Yeah,
this one.
yeah,
Oh,
I didn't, I
Only
didn't
the
state that very
detectors
well, but I knew
outside.
It
it.
was 209-7212.
Have you found a way to match up the people with the
Yes.
ADA rooms?
With
yet?
Tiara Simplex?
Different topic.
I mean, it is a different topic. but
Yes.
it's-
For an hour, for a
For
short
him.
time it is. Yeah. Is Jeff? 121003?
I'm going out to the Dom later this
Thank you.
afternoon to interview some people.
Yeah, finally gonna talk
Okay,
to us.
I just took your panel offline for an
Got
hour.
the names.
Okay,
We have a dialer right here. This is what dials out to our monitoring on it. There's two phone lines. By code, you have to have two. One primary, one backup
okay,
for it. If they get cut or removed in any way, it will send trouble to us.
okay,
That monitoring will know. Because at 2 in the morning, this thing dials out. Basically, it just calls up and goes, hey, I'm out here, I'm all right. And then it goes away. You don't even know it on there. If he doesn't call, we know it. We're calling you at 3 in the morning, finding out why,
nice system.
basically.
3 in the morning.
Yeah.
It wasn't 2:15.
So whatever you do, don't cancel your phone line out of it. If you need to do a drill, evacuation, you take your Simplex V key. We're going to do this live so you can see the whole thing happen.
Okay,
come right out here to this pull station.
You do this at any pull station then?
Yep, this is the closest one. So if you wanna run a drill, you just take your simplex V key, come over, put it in, you're gonna turn it and open the door on it. Close it right back up. The panel will pick it up, it'll turn on the horns and strobes. If somebody's pulled the handle on here, an actual, whether it was real or not, the handle's out, you're gonna have to open it up the same way. The handle snaps back up so you can reset the pull station. Okay? You put the breakers in them?
No, they already did.
They're not in there? I don't wanna break it if it's not.
I already did put them in.
Okay. So in a normal state, somebody come over and hit the handle like this, panel's beeping, and here we go. This is what you hear and this is what you're seeing. It's onto the panel. You want to reset this guy, you open it up, close it. Same way if you want to trip it, you just open it, close it, walk away. Come to your panel. I don't want to hear it anymore. Okay. First thing you would do is come over, this light's on red and beeping. Okay. Hit your acknowledge button until it displays and it says first floor main lobby. This is the address of the device. It's not going to mean a whole lot to you, but it will to one of us techs. Bottom line down there says it's a manual pull station. Okay, so if it's somewhere else in the building, you know at that point you're looking for a pull station. And you're going to look for that handle pull along with the description. And all of them are by the exits, whether it's at a stairwell, north or east in the building, what floor it's on. So you're gonna know pretty much right where to go on it, whether it was a false trip, somebody messing around, or if it was real. Out of it. As you did, next step, you know, you've evac'd the building, you know everything's good, alarm silence, because it's loud. It is really loud in here. Once everything is normal out there, you can hit system reset on it until it says system reset in progress. If at some point during that reset, he finds a device that's still in alarm, say they had a couple smoke detectors go, one cleared, the other one didn't, this panel will not reset. And what it'll do is it'll come back and say reset aborted, alarm still present. At that point, you can still hit your alarm acknowledge button and page through and see which one did I miss. Go take care of it. If it's a smoke detector, you know, and it actually had smoke in it, usually you can use something to kind of air them out and get it cleared. Then come back and do your system reset. If it's a situation where it was dust or it got really dirty, at that point, you're probably going to be on the phone with one of us techs so we can walk you through how to enable, disable the point, get your panel reset. So the last thing you want in the middle of the night at 3 in the morning is, you know, you can silence it with the strobes. Strobes are going to go until this panel resets. The only way around it is be able to disable it. And like I said, any one of us techs can walk you through it over the phone in the middle of the night.
Okay.
Or any time of the day for that matter.
Good.
What else we got? We got batteries in each of the NAC panels on 2,
2, 3,
Three
and
and
4.
four.
On the north end, mechanical rooms. The mechanical electrical rooms on this end.
and it's just a small panel,
Okay,
or it has a set of batteries in the bottom of it. Everything else in there doesn't mean anything to you.
all right.
You don't have to
So
worry
it's just
about
just a step-up
Yeah.
power station? Is that
Yeah.
what it is?
What it does is allow us to get the horn strobe circuits away from here.
Oh, okay.
Easier for the contractor to get away from here and not pull a ton of wire through your building out there, less things go wrong.
So like sub panels?
Yep, yep,
Okay,
exactly.
so there's one on 2, 3, and 4? Okay.
Correct.
All right,
Yep.
so, okay, just so I know where all the hardware is.
Right, and it's gonna tell you, if the batteries in those deplete or get disconnected, it'll tell you on the panel here, which one, what NAC panel to go to. You go to it, find the batteries in it. At that point, they probably have to be replaced.
Okay.
If it's sensing that they're depleted or disconnected
Okay,
on
makes
it,
sense.
their chances are they're gonna be
All right,
replaced.
so I got hardware here, I got hardware in those 2, 3, and 4, this end of the building, right? Those,
Right, the electrical mechanical rooms on this end of the building.
yep.
There's
I got
one
it.
in each one.
Where else do we have hardware to the system, besides the terminals?
As in the way of panels,
Yeah.
that was it.
Okay.
Here and each
Okay,
of the
so those 4
floors.
panels, and then the pull stations and the
Smoke
smoke
detectors.
detectors.
And then you have water flows on the sprinkler system.
Okay, water flow, okay, so if the
If
If the sprinkler system is supposed to come on and doesn't, this knows it.
Yes,
Okay,
yeah. If
You get by water
if
flow.
somebody had closed the valve on it, we're gonna know it
okay.
in there. If a
And
head
you'll,
gets.
and you'll know it before the fire alarm goes off, right?
Oh, yeah.
Okay, so
Yeah.
that's a supervisory thing.
Yes,
Okay.
exactly. If it's a water flow and somebody actually broke a head,
Yeah.
most of them are generally set somewhere around 45, 50 seconds delay.
Okay.
So water's gonna flow for that period of time
Yeah.
before it trips general alarm
Okay.
on it.
Should I assume that smoke detectors are all hardwired, there's no batteries involved?
Everything with our smoke detectors that are general alarm are addressable. So each one has address to them, they're on the loop out there. The rooms, the individuals have batteries to them.
Okay.
So it's possible that those would have to be checked on a...
Yes, and
Periodic
they'll do
basis.
like you want to have in the house. It'll start beeping at you when the battery's starting to
Yeah.
get
Okay.
weak. It'll start making that chirping noise. Yep. That's the indication there. The tenant will have to obviously
9
call you.
volt or something like that.
Yeah,
They are electric, but they have battery backup on them.
So is
They
it,
are.
you know, at home, they tell you to change them every 6 months. Is it every 6 months or is it once a year?
Wherever they chirp, wouldn't it?
Or
Yeah,
whatever?
usually whenever they chirp.
Okay.
Generally, it's what most
Alright,
people
we'll
do
just
is when
wait.
they start chirping now.
Okay,
But like Jeff was saying, they have electrical power.
They
to
are
them,
electric,
each one of them.
electric smokes, but if power goes out, they got battery backup to last.
oh, okay, so they're not likely to
They're not-
deplete the battery for a while.
Right, it
Right.
shouldn't deplete the battery for a while.
And that's pretty much it.
Great,
So that's your system. It should basically sit here on the wall and just be like a picture.
super, okay. And you'll provide us a
Yep.
notebook?
I've got you a
And-
CD right here.
Okay, we've already signed a contract with you, so we're okay
Yep.
there.
That's there, and
Okay.
Jeff, you probably have the manuals to the
Yeah, I got
To the
them all in
panel.
gang box.
Okay.
there.
And I
Most of
don't
what you
need
wanna
those
know is
today.
on that CD right there. The manual's kinda nice to have on hand if a tech comes in and needs to look up some information for it. You can just pull it out real quick.
Simplex ground. Okay.
Do you have an extra one of those
CDs?
CDs?
We can get you one.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you need like that one. For our files also.
All right, Jeff, we appreciate you giving us the training.
Cool.
Probably most importantly is the one right here where I'm gonna have
Alright.
to dance on the,
Now Pete told me there was a British Stratton lawnmower engine in here. I guess he was wrong.
Like it.
I was gonna say, yeah, you should see the blade.
This is cool. I like that. I'm not a gearhead, but I could be.
Let me know when you're ready.
Go.
Go ahead.
I'm with Wolverine Power Systems. We sold the generator and the transfer switches. This is a Generac 300 kW generator set. Most of what you need to know is this is not a standard enclosure, and it's a little bit custom due to the sound requirements. So the first thing I'm going to show you guys is that the air draws in right here for the generator set because of the location and the way we had to configure it. And one of the things we noticed after we set it was snow's probably going to get shoveled into right here. And so we had some stickers made up so that you understand that the whole back of this has to be open. And, you know, I don't know if we want to fence it or something, but as it snows and the drifts come in, we're going to have to make sure that gets cleared off.
Okay.
So that the air can get in. The air will come in here, go up across, and then I can show you it'll go across the whole package this way and then exits out straight up.
Okay.
Okay, so there's no muffler on the roof, there's nothing you have to do other than it will go out across that way.
Okay.
I'll just give you a quick run around, tell me if I'm going too fast, or if you know, if you have questions, stop me.
Perfect. Thanks.
I'll give you the basics. The engine is right here, radiator, turbocharger, aftercool type of engine on it. Really the things that you may do, obviously, is call us and get the maintenance contract going, so we're coming in, but you're gonna open the doors, hopefully once a week, once a month, and check for leaks on the ground. We're looking for antifreeze, I believe it's a red antifreeze, oil, anything like that. There is no fuel, it's a natural gas run engine, okay? So that is the radiator, and again, air flows this way where your car normally would flow this way, so it's a pusher fan this way. There is an overflow bottle right here that I can see the red coolant in right now. That's really what I'm gonna do, but again, as time goes on, you know, we're looking for those leaks. We do wanna keep it free of trash inside. I see a little bit of paperwork, maybe we wanna get it cleaned up, so that, because that will get sucked up across the radiator and clog up that radiator. Oil filters, dipstick for checking the oil. Again, those are things that should be done monthly, probably by one of your maintenance people, or if we get a maintenance contract, we'll be out every 6 months and check it. But again, it's a good thing to open the doors and kick the tires once in a while. The rest of that's the engine. I don't know if you can see an air cleaner back here. Typically, they don't get a lot of dirt or dust, especially in a clean location like this, so not much you'll have to worry about there. Any questions up to this point?
What type of maintenance? Yeah, I'm thinking, okay, I'm a car owner, I do maintenance. What kind of maintenance do we have to do on this? With your maintenance contract?
With our maintenance contract, which Jeff has for you.
Perfect.
Typically, we come out twice a year. You choose what you want to pay for. Once a year, we would do the full inspection, change the oil
right.
and the filters on it once a year. And then on the 6 months, just do an inspection. You don't really ever need to change the oil in this because it doesn't run enough. But we do change it yearly, or we recommend you change it yearly just to get the water out of it. Because
Okay.
it's sitting, not running. And in a bad year, you may run 50 hours or so between testing and then any outages you have. So really, we wouldn't even change the oil into 250 hours, but we want to keep it fresh and clean,
Yep.
keep the filters clean. We'll clean out the air filter. We don't typically change it.
Got it.
And this is what I'm talking about right here. That was
Yep.
already sucked up in the radiator. So
Okay.
okay, it is natural gas, so it's hard piped in. We'll try to get to the other side and see where the valve is. Make sure it doesn't get shut off.
Okay.
This is the alternator end. Couple important things that I do want you to see is the circuit breaker is right here. Okay, it's in the closed position right now. There's a couple ways it can get in the open position. One is that if I hit the emergency stop button, it will open this, or if somebody comes by and opens it. If this breaker's open, it can run all day, but it won't provide power back to the transfer switches.
Okay.
And I think we have 3 circuit breakers on this one?
That's correct.
Okay, so we do have 2 circuit breakers on the other side that we'll get to also.
Okay.
Okay, needs to be in the up position. This is my control panel. I'm not going to go through it extensively. There is a book on it. What you really need to know is that there's no alarm going off, that everything is normal. If we get an alarm, and at some point we're going to try to get into the fire alarm room, there is a remote annunciator that's going to be really important for you that will tell you what's going on with that. It will beep if there's a fault. Okay, if there's a fault back there, when you call us, we're going to want you to come out here and read what's going on up here.
Okay.
Okay?
Code.
That's going to be the most important thing. And right now, it does show me the voltage and the current that's available on all 3 phases. Right now, there's nothing. And then it does show me the oil pressure, water temperature, and battery voltage, just like your car would. Digital display. Again, I'm not going to show you how to scroll through it, but one of the big ones is I'm going to go ahead and put it not in the automatic position and assume somebody in there will hit the button on the remote annunciator. This is what will happen if I take it out of the automatic position. The light will come on, and there should be an alarm back at the remote annunciator saying that it's not in the automatic position. If it's not in the automatic position, when the transfer switches call for power, it won't start and run.
Okay.
Or I can, at this point, manually start it. But what I want to do is leave it in the automatic position when I'm done. Make sure that circuit breaker's up.
Okay.
Do we want to start it, or are we?
Not necessary,
Okay.
unless you think it's.
I don't have any
necessary.
reason to. We've done all the testing, so
I've listened to it run.
you've listened to it. So let's call that good. Key's right there. It's in the automatic position. Everything's good. I'm good to go.
Okay, and there's no reason for us to ever take that key anywhere. So.
Not unless there was something broken and a guy was doing maintenance on it. Then he
Okay.
would pull it out, put it in the off position, and put
From
it
a
in.
building management standpoint, will these doors be locked?
They were locked when I got here, and they will be locked when I leave.
Very good.
And
Okay.
I assume you have keys for it. So
Well,
I still
somewhere.
still got the keys.
he's got the keys. He'll turn the keys over.
Okay.
When I'm done here, I will grab my key.
Okay. Well, before one of you leaves, let's sign the contract too.
Excellent.
Do you have
You can give that to me.
any experience about how often there is electrical outage here in Detroit? In other words, how often would you project if the generator would actually be used?
Typically, summer overloads for DTE, ice storms, lightning storms.
Okay.
You know, a couple hours a year at the most. I don't know, have we set up an exercise time on it?
I think they did set up an exercise time.
We're gonna wanna find out what that is and let them know when it will start and run. Okay, I don't know what that was. Kurt, the guy who did a lot of the coordination on this, isn't here. I'm the salesman, so you get to listen to me today.
All right.
We'll try to find out what that time is for you, and maybe I can get a card from you and get it back to you.
Absolutely. We'll go right back to the office after this.
Should be a weekly run.
It'll run and it'll start and run weekly for about a half an hour,
Automatically?
automatically.
Okay.
So we want to know that so that you're not calling us.
So it hasn't started to run yet, so maybe they didn't.
Okay.
And we may not have programmed it. If we haven't, we're gonna want to find
So
out.
my only maintenance responsibilities are to keep that free of debris and snow.
Keep that free of debris and snow and trash also, because
Yeah.
it will
Well,
get.
that's what I meant, it'll suck it up.
Yes.
And you want us to get in here and clean trash out?
Yes.
Okay.
Maybe the construction manager or contractor here can just, when we're all done, before it's turned, completely done, get it cleaned out, and then, it would be good for somebody in the maintenance facility to open the doors weekly.
Yeah.
Find out what time it runs, and when it's running, after it runs, or maybe even before it runs, just check it real quick, everything looks good, watch it run, know that it runs,
Okay.
and then check, I'm done.
I'm assuming it'll run during the day, right? So we don't-
Whenever you tell.
At 3 a.m.
Yeah, that's what I thought. I see, the guy up there might have an issue with that.
In this facility, it's probably going to be during the day. Some places do choose to run at 4 in the morning.
Okay.
Before employees get there.
All right.
I'm just going to open the door. If you want to follow me on the other side, I'm going to just double check the two breakers, show you where they're at. We do have the natural gas that's tapped off, feeding it right here, and I don't see anything above ground you have to worry about on valves or anything. So
Okay.
this does feed the generator right here. Doesn't look like there's anything. There is probably a shutoff valve right here. Okay.
Yeah.
That is the shutoff valve to the generator.
Okay, so if we have a huge problem,
You would shut that off,
Got it.
or if it doesn't run, we would check to make sure somebody didn't shut that off.
yeah.
Okay, so we do want to.
We,
We want to know that's there.
Maybe eventually, would it make sense to put a fence around this area?
The only ones coming out here should be people that should be coming out here.
Okay, we'll have that door locked.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay, all I'm doing is looking, and the two breakers are in the closed position. It's a little bit tight, but maybe you come over here and double check with me. There's the two more. One feeds the fire pump, and then one feeds the smaller transfer.
Okay, so all three of these have to be empty.
And there is a valve down there also. Oh, yeah, we're gonna block it up down here. Tell the camera.
Yeah, let me,
I do want to show the camera. There is a valve inside also on the gas pipe if you look across. Get you there.
right down there.
You see that right there?
Yep.
There is a shutoff valve inside too.
Okay. There's the battery.
I'm in the sign, on the side of the building.
One of the most important things is that we've got our emergency service sticker here. Obviously, you should know that number. That sticker is also on both transfer switches inside 24 hours. Give us a call if there's any problems there.
Perfect.
Okay?
Okay.
Okay.
If we can take care of that later, okay, can we
You have
program it
to
at
have
any
someone
time?
come out and program it, right?
Yeah, it's easy. We would program it. One of the two transfer switches is where we'll program it in.
Okay. Okay, I would say that, noonish, because that way, the problem is we're gonna have some people who sleep during the day and some people who sleep during the night. And I'm just trying to think of the best time.
You figure out when. I'll look at. I don't know if I can get to it
Okay.
on the transfer switch. I may not be that good, but if not, I'll come back down and
How
we'll
about
program it
we
for you.
take care of that next week
Yep.
and we'll decide when to do it.
I think that's
Okay.
a good idea.
All right.
Let me grab my stuff, we'll go into the transfer switch, because since this is really a life safety generator,
Yeah.
it's required to be here, we're gonna wanna keep record, you're going to wanna keep records of the hours that it's run on that weekly test that I did look at it.
Okay.
And you may need to do a monthly test where you literally test the system, and then you would have to keep those records for that.
Okay.
So
So-
record keeping is gonna be big for you as a part of the NFPA 110
All right.
requirements.
Is there any way to rig an IT system for this thing to talk to a computer to log itself? Have you
To,
ever heard of that?
to log itself.
Yeah, we have
Report.
we have other systems that, keep their own logs.
Documents.
So document, like when it turns itself on,
Mm-hmm.
it would talk to a computer and say, ran for 20 minutes. And
We've got a software system or the capability, if you have a building system
Okay.
where a mod bus could be brought in and you
That-
could pull for that information.
That's for later, but, okay.
Yeah,
I just wanna know if I.
It is capable, we'd need to run a couple cables inside or
Okay.
have a computer where you could actually have the software on
Okay,
it.
that-
The recording capability is inside, it does know when it's run. Transfer switches, same thing, have the ability to record what the outages were
Okay.
or when they've
Okay.
been called to run.
Well, eventually we'll get to that point, not right away.
It's pretty overwhelming right now, I understand,
Yeah.
and once
Yeah.
you get to that point and you have the questions to ask, go ahead and ask us.
Okay.
We have, there are 2 transfer switches in this room right here. There's also a fire pump controller in the other room. Any one of these 3 can call for the generator to start. So if I were to lose main power, all 3 of them will. The generator will start and transfer as they need power. If for some reason it was to lose its feed breaker here, this generator could, or this transfer switch could call the generator start and transfer. Really what we're looking for is the lights on the front of the panel for you. Normal power is accepted and it's in the normal position. Green is good. If the generator would running under source, the light would come up here under emergency power. The normal light can be on also, so the generator can be running available power but not transferred. This light over here would tell me it's connected to the generator right here if I had lost normal power, or if I were to do a transfer test. That's something I can do from right here. So maybe on a monthly test, what you're going to do is you're going to check the generator out outside, everything's good, it's in the automatic position, and I'm going to come in here and I'm going to push and hold this transfer test button right here for 15 seconds. It's going to start that generator. As soon as the generator's ready, this light comes on, it's going to go ahead and transfer. Immediately, it will start its cool down cycle, so it will run, we'd have to check the book what the settings are, it's either 15 or 30 minutes, then it will transfer back, it will be in a ready to go position. So that's something you may want to learn to do for each transfer switch. That way I know the whole system's up and operational. If I want to go ahead and bypass that, I just hit bypass time delay, it'll transfer right back as soon as I say transfer back, then the engine will cool down. We talked about the exercise timer. This is a pretty simple one. There's a button over here that says Set Engine Exerciser. When you decide that on Mondays at noon you want that to run, you come in here on Monday at noon, and you only need to do this on 1 transfer switch, and I typically pick the biggest transfer switch to do that on. Okay? I come in here Monday at noon, I push that button. Next week, 7 days later, Monday at noon, it'll start, run, and then it will shut off after 30 minutes of running.
Okay.
There's some dip switches inside that we would say, do we want it to exercise with load or without load? So you'll have to make that decision. Again, we can come down here and help you set that up when you're ready.
Okay.
At this point, same thing, this is the larger transfer switch, identical right here. Any questions, stickers on both of them for Wolverine Power Emergency Call?
Why 2?
Probably normal loads, probably life safety lighting and loads.
Okay.
The small one's your 100 amp for life safety,
Got it.
and this bigger 800 amp one is just for your normal loads.
Normal loads. So if I want to keep anything up, I want this one
Yeah.
operational and the fire pump available.
Right. In other
Okay.
words, vital, non-vital.
Right, that'll control all your emergency and exit lights, so everybody knows how to get out of the building.
Okay.
Right. Code requires that we separate those circuits so you're there.
Okay.
All right? Let's
One other point I want to make on that was that one of the major purposes of the generator is to back up the fire pump.
And we've already seen the fire pump controller, by the way.
have you in there. I was going to walk you in there, but if you've already seen it, then
Yeah, and originally the fire pump was going to be much bigger than it actually is.
Yeah.
So that drove the size of the generator.
Ah,
So the generator, by the time we found out that the pump size was smaller than it needed to be, the generator had already been, the trigger had been pulled on that.
okay.
So they were able to basically load shed, or figure out what things they could put on the generator
Right.
that were sort of like supplemental. If you don't need the fire pump, it's got the capability to run that, so it's got all this capability.
Okay.
And that's why they have, the life safety obviously is real important, but the heat in the units
Yep.
is not vital, but you've got the capability of running that, as long as, if the fire pump.
That's actually great, that's great to know, because, when would that ever happen? Loss of total power and we have a fire.
Right.
Probably never, and the generator is sized to handle that, and that's really why it's here.
Okay.
So that's what we've learned to say, instead of this huge generator, we typically bring them down in multiple
But what
transfer
you're
switches.
telling me is that even for an extended power loss, I should be able to keep residents here at least for a while.
Yeah, that's what I was hoping.
You should be able to keep residents here
Do
the whole time.
you remember?
That's
They
good to know.
they won't have power in their apartments, but
Yeah.
their heat and air conditioning will work. And then everything down here in this kitchen and this big
Yeah.
banquet room or
Okay.
whatever, that's all on
The
generator
the
power.
fact that we don't have to evacuate the building during power loss, that's good to know.
Big deal,
Part of
yeah.
one of the
Especially if you
plans,
got people on oxygen and they've gotta have the electricity for life support.
yeah,
So-
the emergency plan, or, in case of an extended emergency,
Right.
was that people could gather down here in this area, multi-purpose room, the lounge and the bathrooms would be operational, so they
Okay.
could come down from their units
Oh, even
and
better.
hang out down here.
Yeah,
Now,
kind of set up shop in the lobby.
right,
What
we
you're
still
saying.
have the capability of running the units. He might, I think, and I can't remember how Bill set it up, he might run a third of the heating units for 20 minutes, a third of the units for another 20 minutes, and
Okay.
just sort of rotate them so they're not
Okay.
totally down, but they're cycling.
Perfect.
Right.
That's great redundancy. That's good design. Even if you didn't do it by design.
Bill did, Bill
It's still
did
good
that
design. Good.
Good. The
All right,
last,
super.
last thing I have is, are we going, you need to go back to the room back in there where the remote is, or do you have to do something out here?
No, fire alarm panels up in the room.
Okay.
Okay, well, I'm gonna show you the remote annunciator and then I'll be done.
Let's
So
do
we
that.
we can head that way, and
Okay, and before you leave, let's sign the contract and then.
you know what I wanna do too, is I do need to get a training sign-in sheet, can everybody just give me
Okay.
the name and positions? Generator remote annunciator right here, that will give us any indication of a fault or if the generator's running. Obviously, system ready, green light is good, and then the communications to back to the generator is good, those are excellent.
Highlight on you.
If the generator was running, we'll get a light here, doesn't mean anything's wrong, it just means it's running. Hopefully, we wanna go look at the transfer switches or find out why it's running. Not in auto, is enunciated here, just like we had back on the control panel, that's important. If it's not in auto, when the power fails, it won't start. If somebody hit that E-stop button, obviously this light's gonna be on, and I'm gonna go back and check the circuit breakers and make sure that they're closed when I fix the problem and start it back up. Some pre-alarms right here, if anything goes off, obviously we've given you the number right here, again, call us, go look at that control panel, let us know what it says right on that digital control panel, so we can help bring the right parts down and troubleshoot it. Test right here, just shows me that the lights and the horn is working. The reset alarm is right here. Obviously, as we set the alarm off, they came over and hit the button. Don't put tape over the alarm, don't rip it off the wall when it's going off. Obviously, it's here for a reason so that we know to find out what's going on. During normal testing, again, that light should go on right here, but it won't necessarily alarm. It'll just show that it's running.
If I go to you.
Any
you have
questions?
access to every door.
So when I.
Excellent. Thank you very much, and good luck with your generator.
Thank you.
Okay, well, for starters, this room doesn't look anything like it's going to. This is my laptop. I'm not, you guys aren't gonna continue to use my laptop. Going forward, we're gonna get your computer in here. Ricardo's providing that.
Right.
And that you'll be using to access all these programs. There also will be 6 of these monitors that they just stay stationary and show you all 89 cameras or so that we have in the building.
Where will the 6 be mounted? Are they gonna be up high or down on the desk or?
Right here,
Okay,
right across.
all right, so that's what that countertop
Low
is
like
for.
this, right across that, there.
Okay,
And they'll have a different mount on them too that keep them up off the desk. You still have lots of desks.
this place is gonna look like Cheyenne Mountain.
Yeah.
Yeah, NORAD.
And there's basically a couple things I want to cover today is basically what's going to happen when somebody goes out a door illegally. How are you going to be notified of that, and how are you going to chase them down, and how to badge the people so that you're all set up for Monday. As you got new tenants, you can set up badges, and then how to view all the various cameras in the building. We've only got 1 DVR turned up right now, but you'll eventually have 6, And it's pretty self-explanatory how to go through them all.
Now, the badge Jamie's talking about is this thing. I don't know if you've all seen that, but we will all have eventually one of those, and these correspond to all those little brown card readers.
I should grab the box of those, but you're gonna be given a long boxes of 100 each of those cards, and they're gonna have something written on them called a site ID. That's gonna be important later. Have any of you guys worked with badging systems before? Alright. Well, what do you want to cover first? The cameras or the?
Sure, there's Corliss and Alberto, so, oh, and they brought food, wonderful.
Ah, all right.
Let's give them a second to get in
We
here.
don't mind them being late.
In addition to these.
Oh, I'm sorry, one more thing, I forgot about Alberto. Alberto Sanchez is going to be the lead maintenance supervisor in the building.
In addition to these 6 monitors that you're going to have like this, that are going to show all your cameras all at once, they're going to be along this wall. On your own desktop, you're going to have a program that you're going to be able to go look at individual cameras, blow them up real big if you need to. This is also where the cameras will show up if there's an alarm that gets set off by somebody exiting a door that they shouldn't, or opening a door that they shouldn't. This is where the video feed will pop up and you'll hear a sound here. I don't know if everybody can see, this is the icon. Right there, it looks like a little eyeball camera, and it'll be labeled on your desktop as camera system, something like that. It's called cameras. So you'll launch that, and this application. Where'd it go? This application will launch, and on the right side here you'll see this drop-down box. It's called Device List. When you click on it, you're going to see a list of all 6 DVRs that are in our room down the hall. And then underneath each DVR there's another drop-down box. If you click here, and it'll show every camera attached, and these will all be labeled like north parking lot, so on and so forth. To put that camera in a given spot, you can either just drag and drop, and the camera shows up right there, or you just highlight it with the green and then come over here and double click, and that puts the camera there as well. If you're in the multi-view like this and you double click, it'll bring that camera full screen, double click on the image again to make it go back. And that's pretty much it, all you need to do to watch live video. Down here at the bottom, you'll see there's a bunch of different screen layouts, so if 4 is not enough for you, you can go smaller and smaller, bunch of different layouts, all the way up to a 36 camera layout. And you can drag and drop from multiple DVRs onto there and create views of what you most want to look at.
So we've got 96 cameras, did you say?
80,
Or 80?
I want to say,
I
I
need
want to say there's
96.
66 inside the building and 20
Okay.
something out, 23 outside the
So
building.
just to recap briefly, all camera views will be displayed on this counter here, on the 6 monitors.
Right.
Okay, so,
So all of them will be there for you to view, but if you wanted to zoom one in,
and if at night the camera detects well, there'll be motion all the time around here, forget it.
Right, there's always gonna be motion.
Building, yeah, never mind.
right, there's always going to be motion, so you're just going to have to watch the cameras for any illicit activity. But
Yeah.
to help you out, when someone does go out a door illegally, it will trigger an alarm.
That's kind of the key to the security scheme here, is that everybody that comes and goes, well, I shouldn't say everybody, the residents and their visitors and friends and family will be coming in through the front door. The maintenance staff is going to have privileges of coming in the side well doors. And if they're going to do it at night, they'll coordinate with the front desk so they don't surprise anybody.
And they'll have permission on their card.
Right.
Right.
Yeah.
So
But yeah, they might be at the opposite end of the building, but I'll ask Alberto to notify you guys at the desk here if there's gonna be some sort of activity at those doors. Because otherwise, if you're not notified and a door opens, you know, that's not what we want. What we don't want is residents going to all the stairwell doors and, you know, having conversations with somebody on the outside.
Right, and actually as a maintenance staff, there is a way to enter and exit a door without setting it off.
Yeah.
Use your key card. There's actually at all the exits on the stairwells, there's a reader inside the door as well. You swipe you can just push right on out the door, it doesn't prevent you from leaving. But if you want to exit without setting off the alarm, you swipe at the exit reader on the way out. And I'll show you guys that. We have one siren set up out here in this hallway that I'll go show you how it works. And how the alarm will pop up over here. There will, well, does somebody want to go walk out that door without pushing through, and we'll show you how the alarm works? We don't have, the camera that we intended to aim at that door is aimed out in the middle of the parking lot right now, so it's gonna have to get re-aimed. So there you should see, this camera went full screen over here. Getting it to go back, we're still working on that. It gets stuck on this screen, but instructions will follow for how to fix that. And then you'll see right here, it'll pop up and it'll say which door it was and what just happened. Now, this is kind of important because it's not as obvious as some of the other stuff. To get that sound to shut off, which I'm sure you'll want to do, you come under Tools and Volume, and it says right here, Close Alarm Sound. And that's what you click to get it to go off. So you want to go Tools, Volume, Close Alarm Sound.
And where's that alarming? Just here on the computer?
Just here on the computer.
What about, does it do anything locally at the door?
Right now, there's a key right here that you can turn on or off right at that siren. So right now it's turned off because we haven't labeled the door and we haven't told all the construction workers yet that they're all going to be alarmed. But it will go off. And I'm going to show you guys that and how to reset it.
Now, when the alarm just went off, there was like up in the corner, went straight to that area with the little red.
Right, you saw it right here?
Yeah.
Yep. Yeah, it shows.
Yeah, green means, the green border means it's okay, and
The
then it
green
goes
border
red.
is like a highlight, so when you go to add a camera, see, so if I come down here to add camera 10 back, you're just highlighting where you want to add a camera as you're going through this list of cameras.
You guys will be operating the system, don't be intimidated by this. Is just an introductory. We'll work with the system, we'll train on it, we'll
Right.
practice on it, and it will become second nature to you.
Next thing I want to do is, anybody got any questions on this first? I'll make them.
Well, one thing I wanted to point out just was that for a brief period, we've got till the end of June, we got occupancies for the 4th and 3rd floor. We're still finishing up the 2nd floor. Well, we also have occupancy for the front lobby here too, so tenants can come in here. We don't have occupancy for the residential part of the 1st floor here, or obviously past this wall, which is all the offices and everything. So for a few weeks, there's going to be some coordination, that mainly during the day, so like nights and weekends won't have this situation, but during the day there'll be construction workers, but we need to keep them segregated from tenants, and we need to keep tenants segregated from construction areas. So James will be working on shutting off doors and disallowing access.
Right, and that's already actually functioning. All the 2nd floor stairwell entry, any given floor is blocked off.
And for the month of June, until O'Brien construction is complete with the building and it's completely ours, we'll have to be very patient, because I expect that the rest of June will be one issue after another, and that's gonna be par for the course, so that's fine. Just be patient with that.
And just so you understand that there are, on the upper floors, you've got, all your stairwells have card readers on them to get it, so a tenant is only supposed to be able to get onto their given floor from the stairwell. And there's not really a whole lot of point to them using the stairwells at all, because they're not really, except for maybe this one right here. Because when they get to the bottom, it's a fire exit door only, it's gonna say alarm will sound. But if they do walk out and do a stairwell, they can get back in on their floor only. And same with the elevators, you walk on any of these elevators with a second floor tenant or third floor tenant key fob, you gotta swipe it. You're only allowed to hit the second floor or the first floor, or the third floor and the first floor. Maintenance staff will obviously be able to go anywhere. Then there's also 2 dividers in each hall, 2 dividing doors. So you have a north wing, which is over here, east wing over here, and south wing down here. And so as we go to set up cards, you're going to specify this is a north wing tenant, an east wing tenant, a south wing tenant, because somebody in the east wing, everybody on the second, who has second floor access can get to the east wing, because that's where the elevators exit. But then to go from the east wing to the north wing, or the east wing to the south wing, you need your card approved. So you're gonna have them, all your tenants blocked off into groups of 15 in terms of where they have access to, 15 apartments at a time.
Yeah, so the east wing, this is fine, but the east wing will be just a tad less secure than the 2 other wings.
Right,
So
there'll be
one
3
less-
times as many people who have access to
One,
the east wing.
that's right, one less layer of security.
Right.
Yeah.
But it'll still keep your tenants split up and
Yep.
a little bit more manageable. So,
Excuse me, which doors would tenants be able to come in?
well, your tenants should, from the outside,
Yes,
only these double doors.
only these doors. So if somebody,
On
let's
special
say, brings
occasions,
their car in to, or somebody brings the car to unload some stuff.
well,
they would
that's a
need
special
to
case.
unload.
We can work out a deal where they can temporarily use a stairwell door to move stuff in and out. That's fine. We can control that from here.
But I mean, if they're just from the beginning, like on Monday, if some folks are coming over, would they all have to come in here, or could it be possible some can come in?
The plan is that they all come in here.
All come in here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But if they need access to the stairwell door for a legitimate reason, we can do that. But
You'll have
they're gonna have
maintenance
to,
cards,
they're gonna have to
so-
coordinate it with the front office first, either Corliss during the day or one of these
And
folks.
then the
at night.
elevators will be working on Monday.
Both elevators are working. The only
Okay.
problem with that elevator, of course, it's in the middle of the construction zone. So,
Okay, so it's one
so
elevator on Monday.
one elevator that we can use, for, I can't imagine why, but it can go between the 3rd and 4th floors. But, it can't go to 2nd or 1st.
Well, that one, I mean, you can always, at least from an access control standpoint, my standpoint, that's not the elevator guy, you can always go to the first. So we may want to turn that elevator off until construction's done.
I don't think we wanna turn it off, but,
I'm thinking we would.
Oh, really? Turn it off?
It'll come off, yeah.
Okay.
Someone on the 3rd floor doesn't come down into the middle of the construction, because for egress, if
Yeah.
there was a fire or anything, you don't use elevators anyway.
fine with me. I think that the only issue with that is that the elevator lady said elevators like to be cycled. So we probably shouldn't let it sit idle for a month. We should probably cycle it every now and then.
My only thing is, I wanna make sure if I'm giving some guidance to a resident who's walking in, I wanna make sure I'm saying on the same page as everybody else
Yeah.
about what elevators are we gonna use, what doors are we gonna use,
Well, why
so.
don't we just say that elevator, is this 2 or is that 1?
This is
Which one?
1.
That's 1? Okay, elevator 2 is not available until around the 1st of July. That's just.
Is that the one that's closest to this door then?
That's elevator 1.
This is
elevator
elevator one
one.
right here.
Okay.
So elevator 2 in the construction area is not available.
So we'd use elevator 1 would be available on Monday
Right,
for people to go up to the 3rd and 4th floors?
yeah. And the way that they're built, elevator 1 is the cargo elevator, it's a little bigger. Elevator 2 is pretty much for passengers.
Just another point, I think, as far as parking, permanently, this north parking lot is tenants. And then there's a gate on the west end of this parking lot that separates it from the west parking lot there. And that southern part of the west parking lot, or the west parking lot, is for office personnel and the commercial spaces.
Okay.
So this is always,
So staff will be parking
On the opposite side.
over there on the opposite side, and this whole parking lot over here will be for residents.
yeah, for the interim, the rest of June, this will be, again, this will stay tenants, no construction will be parking in there. All construction will be using what would, permanently be the office parking lot, the west parking lot.
And the other point to bring up is that this is gonna have a sliding gate, both on entry and exit. There's going to be an audio intercom system between this computer. You're actually gonna run it on your computer, and they'll push a button, there'll be a ringer, you'll be able to talk two-way to whoever's coming in that gate right there, and then you'll be able to hit a button to approve them and pass them through. Yeah.
Okay, speaking of which, the view right behind you, did you say you're gonna re-aim that camera? Because that camera seems to be aimed at a
Yeah, I
really nice
mean,
spot.
you're gonna have to find a camera
Okay.
to catch the store with.
Oh, okay, because I was thinking for, we were talking about having a video system. There it is, right there.
Right. I mean, I think you'll be able to see them just as good from right
Okay,
here
well-
in terms of the resolution.
We'll talk later. I'm just, my initial impression is that's a great view right there.
Right, and that was
So-
probably what he thought it was for when he aimed that
Yeah.
camera, but I think we originally intended it to catch that
Okay,
door.
well, why don't we talk about that before you re-aim it, maybe?
Right.
Well, you gotta watch the door too, I understand, so,
Right.
but,
Well, I mean, really, if it's that door right there though, and we just set off an alarm, you're gonna be looking at
I was
what's
gonna
going
say,
on.
we're looking at the door, so,
Right,
yeah.
so maybe.
Maybe that camera's aimed where we want it.
Okay.
Okay, let's talk about it.
And I can just have an alarm come up, just a sound come up, and not necessarily bring up video if we decide that we don't have a camera that we like
Okay.
at that door. Then, there'll be an audio intercom, you'll be able to buzz people in from over there. There'll also be key cards to that as well, so people who already have access should be able to
Yeah.
buzz themselves in. So once that's up and running, if it's a tenant, they should have a key card,
Yeah.
and they're gonna have to explain to you why they don't.
And especially at night, you guys, probably for you, Mitchell, is, if you don't recognize who's at that front door, don't let them in the inner sanctum here.
And then also to note, on exiting the parking lot, they have to,
Same process.
yeah, it's not just a scale that they can drive on and it opens it up.
Key card in and out would
Yeah.
be,
That way we don't have anybody stealing any tenants'
Yeah.
cars,
Yeah.
or hopefully.
Are we gonna be, after hours, we wouldn't have any reason to set up any key cards?
Well, if someone loses their key card, say on a weekend, and Corliss isn't here, we're gonna have to think of something, because we can't just lock them out of the building for the weekend. So we'll think of some procedure.
Security be able to let them in until that Monday?
Well, I think so. This might be outside the scope of this meeting. We're gonna have a million questions. So, but as they come up,
are we concerned that, keeping everybody trained and up to date, who's working the evening shifts on how to do cards and stuff like
Well,
that?
this
or-
is one thing I'm thinking about, because we have our main two people that's gonna be here throughout the week.
Mhm.
And then Miss Corliss is here, who's the office, this is hers.
this is
So,
our space.
so
yeah.
my concern is, I have to go to another site. And then I have to come in and fill in for Mitch.
Right,
Somebody loses their card.
yeah.
Okay, now what do I do?
Well,
I could, At midnight, I'm not calling Miss Court
No.
so she can jump on me.
We will work out.
You see the look out?
We're gonna have extra cards and we'll work out a procedure where you can temporarily.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Where you can temporarily, you know, and we'll know who you gave it to, and, you know, I'll make it just painful enough that they won't wanna lose their card very much.
Okay,
So,
okay.
okay,
Because if it's a temp card, then
Yeah.
that's where I was going, I guess.
yeah, yeah. And
And
then
there's
we'll-
also a potential, I don't know, we could talk about, all this is remotely accessible.
Yeah,
It's not like somebody'd have to come in to make the card.
right,
If somebody was here that didn't know how to use the system.
Right.
yeah. And this is all stuff this, you know, after, you know, it'll take a couple of months, but it'll be second nature to all of us when
Right.
when we get around to it.
Even if you set up like a daily temp card,
Yeah,
just like 2 or 3 of them.
yeah.
That's what they used to do at the hospital when I was at the
Yep.
hospital.
Well, I mean, the only issue we have with that is there's already 10 profiles just for tenants. Cause there's second floor north, second floor
Right.
east, second floor south.
Yeah, so there's 10 different ways you can divide them up.
Right, and then they individually at all of their apartment doors, that key card has to be programmed just for their apartment door as well. So it's gonna, setting up a key card is gonna be a process,
Yeah,
but hopefully we keep the building real secure. I wanna move on now to key cards. This is, I'm gonna keep this pretty simple, I'm not gonna go into like, looking up, doing historical printouts and stuff like that, I'm just gonna do issuing a card and disabling a card, and then we'll have like an advanced
yeah.
201.
And there's a lot of administrative things you can do too. that-
Right,
Corliss is gonna get to know this system inside now.
right, and I'll
So,
work with her on
yeah.
that.
Okay,
But to set up a card, they're gonna come in a box. There's gonna be a bunch of them like this. And if you can see right here, there's these first 5 numbers printed out right there. Everybody wanna take a look?
here's another one.
Yeah, it's circled on this one here. And so that's the card number, and for any given card, there's 2 pieces of data on that card. There's the site ID, which is hidden, so that you can't just read that number and go purchase the correct card. There's also a site ID that nobody's supposed to know. It'll be written on your box of card what the site ID is for every card in that box. If you get a card that you don't know what the site ID is, you can go swipe it at any reader, and I'll show you where the log is, and you can see access denied, and it'll show the card number. It's the site ID, 2-digit site ID, colon, the card number printed on the back. I'll hand my card back there. So you can see right here, it's a, well, maybe you can't, but right there it shows 00 colon and then 5 zeros. And that's the site ID colon the card number. If you see right here, it's like common new button that you see like in Microsoft Office or anything like that. It looks like a blank page. You click that, and we type in the new card number. So for example, I know that one is 64, all of the site IDs for what I'm handing you guys now is 64. So I would type in 64 colon 01209. This actually isn't gonna let me add a new one. That one says it's a temp construction card because it's already in the system. But then from that point, there's where it says, right now it just says card information. We can change all those, Paul, to be like name, first name, last name,
Yeah.
apartment number, we have 10 fields that you can have them fill out, and that all just goes in the database. and that can be pulled up later with anybody, like maybe visitor information or. You got 10 fields worth of stuff that you could pull up with a security guard to view when they scan their badge. Then there's a bunch of tabs across here. On this first tab is the general tab. That's where you can fill out those 10 customizable fields that we'll define, and they'll be pretty self-explanatory as you go to fill them in. You type in the username here. This is just like I just first name space last name is how I would fill it out. Then here on the second tab, it's called access level. And you'll see there's these 3 drop-down boxes. Because we have 3 different, well, they're called, we have one site here, but it's actually segregated into 3 sites in the system. One in the north column, one in the south column, and one on our main first floor stairwell room here. So you can individually set the access level at all 3 of those, but there's actually an easier way to do that. See this icon right here? In the upper left-hand corner of the access tab. You just click right there. You pick what they are. So it says right here, maintenance, temp construction cards, tenant, first floor north, tenant, second floor east. You click on that, and it will set the access levels for all 3 of the sites appropriately. So this is where you want to click to set the access level for a given card. And Paul, we probably need to create a short little table, so as they're assigning them a room number, they can then associate that with 201 is second floor north, you know, so put those ranges on it. I can write that up for you.
Yeah.
But just something we can post somewhere, so as they're creating it, they know which profile to pick.
Yep.
Under the miscellaneous tab, for the most part, you're not going to change anything. You can do things like a start date, an end date. So if you wanted to give somebody a card temporarily, there is a place here where you can do an end date, and type in an end date, and say after, give somebody access for 24 hours. Tell them they're supposed to return their card, but right when you program it, you can say if they don't give it back to me, I don't want to have to remember to shut it off. You click this use end date and you type in the
So it'll just automatically turn off.
It'll automatically turn off.
Okay, or expire, that's a better word.
And then you can also do a start date if you wanted it for some reason to start in the future. I'm not sure what the scenario is for using that, but it's available.
Yeah, we'll find a use for it.
And then this pin section, we don't have any.
Maybe I'll mess with Randy and just turn his card on and off at random.
It's gonna be fun, Paul.
The power.
It does talk about a 5-digit pin here, but none of our readers in this system, the CanTech system, use pins. That's at their individual apartment doors they have pins, but you're not going to set that here. So don't, as you get explained pins to you later in the day by the Ingersoll Rand guy, don't confuse that with entering those pin numbers in here because they won't do anything.
This is kind of key. Does everybody understand what Jamie was just talking about? We have 2 key systems here. One is this system, which is, for getting in and out and around the building, and then the individual rooms themselves have that punch key. That's something entirely different.
Right, that's what it would fall into.
It will use the same card.
Oh,
it will be able to use the same card for
Well, that's
both.
good. Yeah.
The only caveat is that you're gonna have to go into 2 separate programs to set that up. Reason being is this is all networked and communicating constantly. You get logs right here, and to do that we have to run a wire to every door. So for 150 apartments, that was gonna be.
Before we get too far into this, that's a good question. What do we call this system? When we're talking among ourselves and we refer to the thing, what is this called?
The card access stuff?
Yeah, what we're training on now, is it, did you say?
Well, I mean, we probably should just, we could call it the Cantech system, that's what.
That's fine, as long as we all call it the same thing, Cantech.
Or we could call it the network system, or the
Yeah.
the
Does that
building.
software have a name?
Perimeter.
The perimeter system.
Okay.
Cantech is what it's called. It's
Yeah,
called Workstation Enterpass Special Edition, so that's
Oh,
probably.
that's
not
way
good.
too hard.
Make it intuitive
All right,
here.
we're going back to the thing, okay. So should we call it the perimeter system then? 'Cause I wanna have a common term.
Just use the Cantech.
Cantech, okay,
Cantech, that's
Cantech,
K-A-N-T-E-C-H.
okay.
I'd say building and apartments, that's two different things.
Or just the building and the apartment card reader systems, or
Okay.
something like that. That might be the easiest.
Yeah,
way to
okay,
go.
as long as we know what we're all talking about, Cantech, building and apartments,
Just know that there's two separate systems. You guys will all work out your own lingo eventually.
okay.
And then, again, on this miscellaneous tab, as you create a new one, it'll automatically be called valid. And there are 4 other states that you can choose. The expired state you actually can't choose. You get it, make a card expired by setting an end date prior to today.
Okay, so you can't make the card itself expire, you can only
Right,
make the
and
software.
as with the pending, and with pending, you have to set a start date past today, and then it'll automatically be labeled pending. But then the other 3 are valid, invalid, and stolen/lost.
Yeah. That's gonna be a key one, we don't have to discuss this now, but just keep in mind that stolen/lost is gonna be an issue for us, and we're gonna have to respond to those things pretty quick, when we get a report of.
Right, so what you're gonna do is you're gonna come in to this system, same screen, find their card in the drop-down list here. You can even, how do you do the search? I'm gonna have to get you guys some instructions on how to search for them by name or by apartment number probably. I think I can set up a real quick search where you just you ask them what their apartment number is, and then it'll bring up any cards associated with that apartment number. So that'll be one of the things we enter in one of those custom fields, so that we can then search on it. And then you'll go find them by apartment number, and you're gonna go set it then to stolen or lost. As you create a new card, you don't have to do anything, it's already set to valid. But as it disappears on you, you're gonna say stolen or lost.
Question, who's going to actually fill in the blanks on the computer to create or program the cards? Whose role would that be?
Corliss is gonna be doing that for the most part.
Because you've given us the initial cards, right?
Right,
And then I'm assigning them to the tenants.
right,
Right,
so
okay.
as part of their lease-up process, you're gonna get all that information.
Right.
As a matter of fact,
So
after
they'll
this,
cards will be programmed during the lease-up
After
after
process.
this, because we